Well, as you can see, welcome to the reality of being out on campus at EWU. We're wearing our masks to be super safe. But we wanted to be here because there's some really cool things to see. And so we're back out on campus doing our experts at EWU. And Becky Brown
Yes.
is your title, your name. And this is kind of your domain, isn't it? Tell me, we're at the I'm not going to say it right.
The Interdisciplinary Science Center.
Yeah, easy for you to say. It's like you work here or something, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Tell me, what are we in, other than what is a really cool lab, that's for sure. But what is this, and what is this all about?
So the Interdisciplinary Science Center is a new science building for the natural sciences on the campus at EWU that has chemistry, geosciences, physics, and biology.
Wow.
In it. So, and they're all working in close proximity with the idea that, you know, a lot of the research these days is cross-cutting and
Yes.
goes between disciplines.
Yes.
And it expands our capacity here quite a lot because it's full of student, you know, research, well, not research lab, but teaching labs.
Right.
I mean, the students do research, and it allows, you know, students to be working in an environment with cutting edge technology,
Yes.
really nice facilities, and you know, it's just great. I mean, if you look around, it's really nice.
In getting here, we had the opportunity to go through the old building, which is going to be at some point in the next couple of years renovated and brought up to standards as close to this as possible. But what's it like to kind of come from there to here to have today's standard of, and one of the things that was pointed out to me in walking this building is the ability to think for the future, because it was really built with the idea that let's not put walls up or ceilings up for everything. Let's allow tracks to put new wires on and so forth. That's forward thinking.
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been working in a building that, you know, I think it was built in the 60s and has
Late 50s to early 60s.
late 50s to
Yes.
early 60s, and it was remodeled, I don't know, maybe in the 80s, but it's really gotten a little bit out of date. Of course, we still, you know, used it and
Right.
going to use it, but it's just kind of amazing. And also, this building is there's so much more space. There's
Yes.
so much more light,
Yes.
and you know, we have new equipment, and you know, the sinks and labs, and even how the whiteboards are arranged.
Are you
and
like
designed.
a kid at Christmas with all
Yes.
this? Yeah.
Everybody loves it. They come in here and it's like taking a deep breath.
Yeah.
And it's
But why
beautiful.
is being really current and thinking for the future, why is that so important though? Other than it's nice to be here.
Well, I think one of the things that is really future thinking is we're a lot more collaborative now. And
Okay,
so
yes.
all of our labs, not all of them, but most of our labs emphasize collaborative research.
Right.
And
right.
so in this building, we actually have a bunch of study pods and research areas where students can work collaboratively. Like there's large screens where they can plug in.
Right.
There's, you know, tables set up so that they can work in groups of 4 and 5. And I think the ability to do that and then have students able to stay in the area where
Yeah.
they're taking their classes and use these study lounges and,
Yes.
and this beautiful space, I think it's going to inspire kind of more synthetic learning, because now people are talking to each other.
Right.
In this old science building, we didn't have a place for students to hang out between classes,
Okay.
and so they didn't. I mean,
Yeah,
they would just
right.
go away,
They
or
go somewhere else on campus.
they might sit down on the floor waiting for a class that's to start or something while
Right,
they were
right.
studying.
But-
But you know, so you don't have that interactive, collaborative thing going on that I think is really beneficial for
yeah.
science and for, you know, a lot of what we do here at Eastern in terms of our research is solving problems. Like,
Right.
And so trying to find answers and solutions and work on things that are affecting society today. And so a lot of that work is very cross-cutting.
Yeah.
and, cross-disciplinary.
Right, right. Yes, we walked the halls before we came in, and I love the idea. Even as you go up the floors, it goes from more of a crowd to a smaller areas to work 2-on-2 or 3-on-3 or something like that, because that's really where a lot of new things are decided and questions are answered and all of that. That's really part of school too, isn't it?
Yes, and I mean, the other thing that's important in what we do, and I'm speaking for the biology department, is all of our students have to do classes where they learn how to do research and they conduct research.
Right.
From their first year as biology students to their final year. And in this building, it's kind of set up for that.
Perfect.
So they can do research and then they can present their research. And so along the walls of the building, we have corkboard where they can hang up their posters and show their
fun.
work. And so you can see that when you're walking past. And so, I mean, it's kind of all, it really facilitates, the ability to have that, hands-on,
Yes.
learn by doing.
Well, it's inspiring too, isn't
experience.
it, to other students to see
Yes.
that, see what's kind of come before you, or
Yes.
to go up and go, I think I could do it slightly different from that,
Yeah,
and come up.
it's a good teaching tool.
Yeah, yeah. What do you like best about EWU and what you're doing here?
I really like best working with the students and seeing them mature as scientists and as learners, because you can see them growing
Yes.
and developing, and then a lot of our students end up being really successful in their next steps.
Right.
And so I think that, I work with a lot of directed study students or master's students, and
Okay.
just seeing them start out kind of not knowing how to do things and just learning how, and they come out
Then it takes
confident.
over, doesn't it?
They come out confident learners.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's one of my favorite things. The other really cool thing that we're doing here that I'm really excited about is the Palouse Prairie restoration
Yes.
on campus
Yes.
that we're doing. And you'll learn more about that from Eric. But,
Right. But what's that all about?
So
You have a very unique, from what I understand, very unique opportunity at this location out in Cheney, don't you?
yes.
Yeah.
So it turns out, and Eric's the one who figured all this out and, envisioned the whole idea.
Uh-oh.
But it turns out that half of our campus was in wheat fields, not quite half, but slightly less than half.
Okay.
And it had been leased to a farmer, but it was owned by the university. And originally the idea was that if we could plant native grasses in there, we could sequester carbon and use that as carbon offsets for sustainability.
Sure.
But the Palouse Prairie, which is where this region is a highly endangered ecosystem. So there's
okay.
less than 1% intact Palouse Prairie left, and it's pretty much, I would say, it's on the verge of extinction.
Yes.
And so our project is gonna, what's exciting about it is we can bring our ecologists and our biologists, our botanists and soil scientists all to bear on this project.
Right.
And help bring back something that's been lost.
Right.
And learn how to do that. I mean, there's people that have been trying and learning, but
But now
it's
it's
hard.
full steam ahead.
It's hard, and we haven't mastered it. And it's like trying to learn how to create a human body. It's just we just don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And so having a university where it's on campus, right there, and the students can go out, as a matter of course, and do research.
In fact, a lot of
on
the
site.
public sits near that for a football game.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Yes.
It's right.
But
You'll
they
be
never
able to see it.
never knew that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll be able to bring back. And then, what I would envision for this project, though, is that it would inspire others who have little tracts of land here and there, maybe roadside swales or things.
Right.
Then they can restore those little tracts, and we can have a more functional ecosystem in this
Yeah.
region. So one that can handle and accommodate agriculture, which is really important,
Right.
but also have some functional biodiversity.
Well, and we're a growing community, the Spokane area. We need to be thinking about these before they all get paved over. I mean, that's the reality.
That
out there,
is
isn't
the
it?
reality, or before they get plowed over. I mean, some of it's just we didn't know better because there's
Yes.
different practices that have been taken place over time. And so now we're going to see, can we come up with practices that allow us to, have really strong agricultural systems and really healthy ecosystem. So I think, that's actually, I'm incredibly excited by this project because, I think we have a real potential to do some good for our region.
Right
and
here
for our
on
community.
Eastern's property too.
Yeah.
How exciting can that be for not only the community, but the word is and the experience is going to get out there to other universities too, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think so, and I hope so.
There's
and we
but
can
it started.
Work, yeah, we can work together. There's other, like I say, there's other small prairie restoration pieces, but I think this is going to add a big chunk to it because of our ability to be right there,
right,
monitoring it all the time, continuing research on it, adapting how our approach is. So if we try this restoration approach and it doesn't work, we can try something different, and we're right there. We'll be able to stay on top of it in a way that, if it's a site,
off site somewhere,
30 minutes, it's
if
not
it was
quite
over
the
in
same.
Montana or something, you have to get in the car every time to go there.
Yes, you're not. It's not. And then also there's going to be recreational opportunities in this site. It's
fun.
People will be able to walk around and learn a lot about.
Well,
the
learning
First Prairie.
center for the public as well as your students
That's right.
and science, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
So we have between this new building, and
Yes.
this prairie restoration, it's really opening up some opportunities here.
One of the things I really like, and I've learned over the last year and a half of doing these programs, the experts at EWU, is how much I've seen in the last 2 years, I guess, the growth of working with other departments. Everything from the entrepreneur groups, working with and finding with the music groups and so forth. There may be some opportunities to come up with new systems and so forth. That's one of the things I really didn't understand about Eastern, even though I had a daughter who attended here 25 years ago. But you guys are really on top of that experience of growing and sharing within the campus. That really surprised me.
Yes. I just think there's a lot of one of the things about science these days is it's not just science anymore.
Yeah.
Right? And so there's a lot of collaborative, like I said it before,
Yeah.
work where students have to go from science and they also have to know how to communicate. They have to know the ethics behind it. They
Yes,
have to
yes.
understand from a pretty broad perspective.
Any last things to talk about in terms of your science facility here and what's going on that would be good for average Joe or Jill out there like me to know about our Eastern Washington University?
I guess one thing we didn't mention was that the old science building is just at the start of a remodel.
Right.
Now
over the next couple of years.
Over the next couple of years. And
Yes.
so not only are we going to have this building with the labs for teaching, but we're also going to have updated, modern research facilities
Right.
for faculty.
Yeah, I
and
understand
student
more research for the students will be over there than the classroom kinds of things over here.
It's bringing the building up to standard in so many ways. Everything from air handling systems to energy efficiency to ADA access. It's going to be, to water quality.
Think about what we knew back in, you're not old enough, but what we knew back in the late 50s, when that was designed and started to be built over there. We didn't really have cell phones or any of those things that we take for granted today.
That's true.
Wi-Fi. And that's an old building built for the 60s. Yeah. But we're well past that.
I don't think you want to know about the Wi-Fi continuity of access in there, but yes.
You have that problem too?
It'll be better.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Becky.
You're welcome.
For talking about this and showing us and great opportunity for our area and the students that come to this area. Thank you. Good job.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.